It is my pleasure and my honor to welcome you all here today. We are here to debate on breastfeeding in the Bahamas. Resolutions? The chair now recognizes fellow student Felicity Hasty.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise to move the following resolution. Be it resolved that breastfeeding is better than formula feeding for our children. Breastfeeding is a mother's gift to herself, her baby, and the earth. This is a quote penned by Ms. Pamela K. Wiggins, a certified lactation consultant. I am attorney Felicity Hasty and wish all gathered a pleasant evening. My role here is to speak on behalf of the voiceless, babies. Babies who need mother's milk, not foreign formulas to give them the nutrition they require to grow into happy, healthy citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Breastfeeding, also known as nursing or suckling by the National Institute of Child Health and Development, is defined as the process in which a mother feeds breast milk to her infant, either directly from the breast or through expressing the milk from the chest and feeding it to the baby. Breast milk is the ideal form of nutrients a newborn can intake. For the very first 6 months of life, breast milk is vital for a child's development. Colostrum is the first milk an infant received from a mother's breast and is high in proteins and low in fat and sugar. According to Cleveland Clinic, it is high in white blood cells. These white blood cells produce antibodies that fight against illnesses and diseases common in newborns. A drop of this liquid gold contains an estimated 1 million of these white blood cells. Breastfed infants have a decreased risk in suffering from ailments like diarrhea, vomiting, asthma, eczema, bacterial meningitis, pneumonia, whooping cough, sudden infant death syndrome, and many, many more illnesses and diseases. The battle is nature versus manufactured. Formula feeding is like fast food just for babies. We decided instead of giving our children the all-natural ingredients from the source, we'd make a preferred imitation and name it Quick and Easy. I meant milk. Millions of metric tons of infant formula are sold each year to millions around the world for babies. Bottle feeding isn't best suited to a newborn's development. For example, some babies find it difficult to consume formula as their anatomy was designed for nipple suckling, and some of the nipples on bottles don't have the consistent shaping a nipple from a mother has. The mother's nipple is a natural fit to the baby's anatomy. Unfortunately, all around us are baseless rumors that hide this truth and discourage Bahamian mothers from providing the breast milk their babies need. One misconception is the belief that breastfeeding can make a child too clingy towards their mother. In reality, some babies who breastfeed are in fact clingy, but this is also common in babies and infants that do not breastfeed as well. Actually, it is preferred by doctors that a mother and child have bonding time through skin-to-skin contact. The second misconception I would like to address is one that states that breastfeeding mothers would have to eat a diet of bland food to produce better nutrition. And while your diet should be considered when breastfeeding, all that's really a concern is the balance of a mother's diet. Breastfeeding doesn't steal away the experience and pleasure of satisfying one's hunger. Colleagues, breast milk is nature's recipe. Who are we to alter the primary source of food that is nutritious, sustainable, and custom-made for each child who suckles? Breastfeeding benefits our children, our mothers, our community. It is a natural and loving way to feed our infants. We must dispel myths and misconceptions and let breast milk flow freely and frequently in our homes and the homes of the next generation. I hope my words will not only resonate with mothers and fathers, but with anyone listening, anyone watching, and anyone wanting better for our Bahamian babies. I rest my case. Thank you, Mr. President.
Is there a seconder?
Thank you, Mr. President.
The chair now recognizes fellow student O'Reilly Weiss.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion. I am delighted to share the wonderful benefits of breastfeeding all children in the Bahamas. Breastfeeding, also known as nursing, is the natural process of feeding a baby its own milk by breast or by pumping out to be cup fed. Currently, as recorded, the Minister of Health and the Bahamas National Breastfeeding Association, only 18% of Bahamian mothers breastfeed. Their goal is to raise that percentage to 50%. My goal in this presentation, Mr. President, is to increase the number of babies getting access to this vital nutrient. Breast milk gives your child the perfect nutrients, vitamins, and minerals for your baby to grow stronger and healthier. Breastfeeding gives them a better immune system to fight off illnesses later in life. It's much more convenient than using formulas, as formulas lack certain antibodies that help fight off illnesses and diseases. Not only the baby breastfeeds, or not only the baby benefits from breastfeeding, the child's mother also receives multiple benefits that help with her health and recovery after birth. It speeds up the process by returning the uterus to its natural size and reduces postpartum bleeding. Breastfeeding also reduces the mother's weight after pregnancy while significantly lowering the risk of breast and ovarian cancer, as well as heart diseases and type 2 diabetes. Lots of people think that when you're sick, you shouldn't breastfeed. This is actually a myth, as you can still breastfeed during sickness. This method of feeding is still safe for the baby since sicknesses cannot be transferred during breastfeeding. Additionally, when a mother breastfeeds while sick, the baby gets the antibodies needed to fight the infection. Another myth may be when mothers say their baby does not want breast milk. However, one of the most common mistakes made by mothers is ignoring their baby's feeding cues. When a baby turns their head or struggles to latch, many parents think their baby is having picky behavior. In reality, it can be poor latching. For mothers who think the baby may be picky, always watch your baby's body language by not force feeding as small, frequent feedings or better. Without a doubt, breastfeeding is financially better than formula feeding, while ensuring the baby receives safe, warm, and nutrient-rich milk. Breastfeeding mothers do not have to bear the cost of expensive formulas. Did you know, did you know that companies who sell formula make billions of dollars a year? They tell us mother's milk is not good enough. They tell us that mothers don't have any time to take care of their children. And too many of our people believe that lie and hand over money that can be saved for important items for the family. Bohemians, choosing breastfeeding is not only an act of bonding, but a mighty investment in your well-being and your baby's lifelong health. Thank you, Mr. President.
As many The chair now recognizes fellow student Wilnisha Joseph.
Thank you, Mr. President. Susie, while I have been talking about I have to breastfeed this child, when my husband could just buy baby milk for $9.99 right by super value, you think I'm going to sit all night with this baby on my chest? No, ma'am. I don't want my breast to be silent. And they say it is hurt too? No, sir. That is for me. Now, that may sound funny, but these conversations happen every day in our beautiful community. Many mothers hesitate to breastfeed due to fear, discomfort, or misinformation. Some worry about appearance, some think it's painful, and others feel as if formula is the best choice. I've heard these myself. It's everywhere. Esteemed judges, fellow students, and guests, good afternoon. My name is Wilnisha Joseph, and it is truly an honor to speak to you today about a topic that touches families across the Bahamas: the importance of breastfeeding. I've seen firsthand how breastfeeding impacts both mothers and babies, and I want to share why it matters so much. Firstly, we must encourage mothers to breastfeed. Many new mothers feel unsure or pressured to use formula instead. But have you ever wondered why is breastfeeding so important? Well, let me tell you. For one, breastfeeding gives babies complete nutrition, all the vitamins, proteins, and fats they need to grow healthy and strong. Additionally, it strengthens their immune system, protecting them from infections and even support brain development. Experts have even found that if a mother breastfeeds exclusively for the first 6 months of an infant's life, this simple act can prevent thousands of infants dying worldwide. Moreover, here's something I want you to hear. Even I, as a young woman who has seen these struggles firsthand, understand how challenging it can be. However, I've also seen the incredible difference support can make. When mothers feel encouraged, when families and communities steps up, babies thrive and the mothers feel confident. Have you ever seen a mother breastfeeding her child and the little one just looks up to her, smiling and touching her face? I have, and that right there is love. That bond and connection is priceless. Proof that breastfeeding is not just about nutrition, it's about care and comfort. To support this, the World Health Organization states that exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months provides all the nutrients a baby needs for healthy growth. In addition, UNICEF reports that breastfeeding lowers mothers' risk of breast and ovarian cancer and even helps the body recover after childbirth. Caught you by surprise, didn't I? However, even with all these benefits, breastfeeding mothers must be supported. Some mothers face challenges such as social pressure or lack of privacy that make it difficult to continue. According to the CDC, workplaces and communities that provide private spaces and flexible breaks for nursing mothers can see a higher rate of breastfeeding success. Providing comfort and emotional encouragement can make all the difference. As a community, we should build an environment where mothers feel proud to breastfeed, not pressured to do so. But let's be honest, there's a lot of myths out there, aren't they? Some people say breast milk isn't enough. Others think it's embarrassing to breastfeed in public. Yet, science proves otherwise. Breast milk alone is perfect for the first 6 months. It gives babies protection, nutrition, and care. Exactly what they need. And even I have seen mothers comfortably breastfeeding. It's inspiring and proof that when we support each other, we can make a real difference. Ultimately, let us encourage, let us support, and celebrate breastfeeding, not just as a choice, but as a commitment to the health and future of the Bahamas. Thank you, Mr. President.
As many. The chair now recognizes fellow student Kamaya Black.
Thank you, Mr. President. A garden begins with a small seed, fragile and full of promise. For that seed to grow and flourish, it needs nourishment, sunlight, and care. In many ways, motherhood is its own garden, and breastfeeding is one of the richest soils where an infant's life first takes root. This year's theme, prioritizing breastfeeding, creating sustainable support systems, reminds us that just as no garden flourishes without tending hands, no mother should ever have to nourish alone. Breastfeeding is not just a natural act. It is an act of growth, patience, and love. It is the root of life's garden, where the mother's body serves as both soil and shelter, providing the perfect balance of nutrients and warmth for her little seed to thrive. And like any thriving garden, there are essential elements to keep it alive. The benefits that help the child bloom, the support systems that act as sunshine and rain, and the truth that uproot the stubborn weeds of myth. Today, we'll explore how breastfeeding strengthens both mother and child, why sustainable support systems is key to nurturing to that bond, and how truth can help every mother's garden blossom. Every healthy beginning starts with nourishment, and breastfeeding is nature's first and most powerful gift. For babies, breast milk is the gold standard of nutrition, filled with antibodies, vitamins, and minerals that strengthen their immune system and help them grow. In 2024, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention stated that breastfed infants have a reduced risk of air and respiratory infections, diarrhea, and sudden infant death syndrome. When we encourage mothers to breastfeed, we help children grow healthier, stronger, and better prepared for life challenges. But breastfeeding does not just benefit the baby, it also supports the mother's long-term health. According to a 2023 report from the Cleveland Clinic, women who breastfeed lower the risk of breast and ovarian cancers,
type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. This shows that breastfeeding is not only an act of care, but also an act of prevention. It helps the mother's body recover after childbirth by reducing bleeding, shrinking the uterus, and even helping her maintain a healthy weight. Just as importantly, breastfeeding releases hormones like oxytocin, often called the love hormone, which strengthens emotional connection to her newborn and reduces stress. Even the healthiest gardens need sunlight and care to thrive. And in the same way, every breastfeeding mother needs consistent support to continue her journey. Breastfeeding may be natural, but it often comes with real challenges: exhaustion, discomfort, self-doubt, and the pressure of returning to work far too soon. Support then becomes the light that helps mothers grow in confidence and persistence. According to the World Health Organization in 2023, up to 800,000 plus infants could be saved each year if all mothers were supported to exclusively breastfeed for the first 6 months. That number is powerful. It reminds us that support is not just kindness, it is life-saving. When partners, family members, and friends encourage mothers, share responsibilities, and reassure them during difficult moments, mothers are far more likely to continue breastfeeding. Workplace support is equally important. When employers provide private spaces for pumping and flexible breaks, mothers do not have to choose between their job and their baby's health. Studies have shown that these small policies drastically increase breastfeeding continuation rates, proof that a supportive environment leads to healthier families and more productive communities. In every thriving garden, there are always stubborn weeds, the ones that push through the soil and threaten to take root if left unchecked. In the same way, myths about breastfeeding have grown stubbornly over time, clouding the truth and discouraging mothers from embracing this natural gift. One of the most common myths is that breastfeeding is too painful or too difficult. While some discomfort may appear in the beginning, research from the World Health Organization shows that with proper guidance on positioning and latching, most breastfeeding pains can be prevented or corrected within just few days. And then there's the belief that formula feeding is just as healthy. While formula has its place in certain situations, it cannot duplicate the living, adaptive nature of breast milk. The American Academy of Pediatrics in 2023 explained that no manufactured milk can match the antibodies, enzymes, and hormones found in human breast milk. Each drop of breast milk adjusts to a baby's needs, offering protection and nutrients that formula simply cannot replicate. When we step back and look at this garden we've been tending of motherhood, of nourishment, of new life, we see how each part depends on the other. The baby, like a tender seedling, drawing strength from the mother's love and milk. The mother, like rich soil, needs care, encouragement, and support to keep giving life. And the community, like steady rain and sunlight, must play its role in helping both grow. Because when we prioritize breastfeeding, we plant seeds of a stronger, healthier, and more compassionate world. One that will continue to blossom for generations to come. Thank you, Mr. President.
As many the chair now recognizes fellow student Hadassah Simeon.
Flawlessly arranged by God, a mother is able to provide for her newborn in 6 weeks. No bottle, water, or canned vessels required. What an awesome design. However, maybe the man trying to know better than his design.
disadvantage and the alternative of formula a dangerous choice. According to the National Institute of Health, bottle-fed babies do not require a heavy feeding as breastfed babies. However, the consequences of inconsistency in the mixture or formula can lead to diarrhea or constipation for the baby. Unlike the breast milk that has nutrients genetically created for the child, hence healthier. Breast milk holds a unique combination of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that protect the baby from infections, disease, and strengthens their immune system, which formula is not in the place to provide. In addition to that, Cleveland Clinic has revealed that nursing for a mother does not only prevent long-term illness such as ovarian cancer, breast cancer, and even cardiovascular disease, but aids in the healing process after delivery. As a mother is nursing, oxytocin, a hormone produced during breastfeeding, is released. This hormone assists the uterus after delivery. It helps the uterus to return to its normal size, which reduces the amount of vaginal bleeding. Some mothers are robbed of the opportunity to be able to breastfeed, whether it's due to sickness in her body or the baby's. In a recent conversation with my aunt, an experienced mother of 3, she expressed how saddened she was at not being able to breastfeed her newborn baby. She wanted to give him the best, not formula, but was unable to because of his Down syndrome. After giving him formula in response to him not being able to be breastfed, the formula made him sick. To combat that, this mother made the decision of pivoting to pumping. This process was time-consuming, but worth it in the end because this resilient mother understood the significance of breast milk in her child's life. Moreover, the physical acts of bonding time deepens the relationship between mother and child. In an unfamiliar, cold world, that baby's head resting comfortably on the bosom maintains the connection of an affectionate heartbeat and warmth existing from conception. Ladies and gentlemen, breastfeeding has no price tag. This does. It is just the priceless bond between a nurturer and neonate. You deprived yourself and baby of emotional connection because you didn't know. You created that avenue to disease because you didn't know. You believed that it would change a woman's body drastically because you didn't know. Now you know. The physical act of breastfeeding creates an emotional and psychological connection important for child development. Now you know that breast milk holds such vital nutrients for a baby's immune system to fight disease. Now you know that breastfeeding helps a woman's body to recover after giving birth. Now you know better, so let's do better. Down with formula, up with breast. Mr. President.
As many speakers, please ensure that your mics are on when you come to speak. The chair now recognizes fellow student Aaliyah Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. President. After burping from bottle feeding, your baby becomes extremely ill. You don't hesitate and rush to the hospital, desperately trying to save your baby's life. But just then, the doctor turns to you and says, "It's lead poisoning." You freeze. Your mind just can't get the concept. How could that have happened? But the culprit sits on your shelf, something you place your trust in. The baby formula? Yes, that same baby formula. The food you fed your baby is now the source of his illness. Scary, isn't it? As early as March 19th, 2025, a US reporter Betty Lynn Fisher, cited that 41 major formula brands tested positive for lead and arsenic. Brands such like Similac and Enfamil were recalled for containing harmful contaminants. So the scenario I shared is a clear and present danger. However, consider this one. International shipping is on hold. No imports or exports. Shelves are quickly emptied with no restocking. How will you feed your infant now? Seems far-fetched, unrealistic, but let's all think back. Do you remember a time called COVID-19? Now, not so far-fetched after all. Today, I express to you the importance of breastfeeding and the abandoning of the use of formula. Mothers, do you know that to realize a problem has occurred, something has to bring it to light? Imagine that a baby had become ill from consuming that baby formula and had died from those same harmful contents. Now, imagine that that baby was yours. How would it feel to know that you didn't use the original source, breast milk, to avoid such a tragedy? Furthermore, it was free, nutritious, safe, and right on your body ready for use. Breastfeeding not only is the safest option, but it's the best source of milk for your baby. It trumps all baby formula's alleged nutritional values and evolves as your baby grows to meet its needs. Beyond that bonding and tight connection, the feel between a mother and child, beyond the cheaper cost and convenience, the faulty formulas, unlike your breast milk, which is specialized for your baby, with the nutrient colostrum that is already stored in your body. Once your baby arrives, your breast milk is already fitted for their needs. With the high nutritional benefits of breast milk, it will not only heighten your baby's immune system and decrease the risk of infections, but for the mother, it lowers the chances of any respiratory diseases, such as cancer and high blood pressure. Moreover, mothers, why would you feed your baby things you can't even pronounce? Flip over a can of formula and read what your baby is consuming. Stuff like sodium phenolate, tichlorophyll, inositol, and even hydrochloride, which is not only used in baby formula, but in metal cleaners, fertilizers, and even antidepressants. Are we really feeding our babies this and then having the audacity to wonder why they're getting sick? Moreover, that myth that if you breastfeed, you must eat a bland and boring and restricted diet for your baby's health? Well, I'm also here to debunk this myth and tell you that it is nothing but a lie. Because according to childrensbychildrens.com, the more flavor a mother eats, the easier it is for a child to be introduced to those flavors later on in life, and also lessens the chances of your child becoming a picky eater. So mothers, eat those seasoned foods, taste those extravagant flavors, and give your baby a taste of what is to come. I challenge all mothers, breastfeed, continue to feel that connection with your child, whilst also being its safest option. And remember that before formula, there were breasts and the original way of getting healthy milk by breastfeeding. Thank you, Mr. President.
As many, the chair now recognizes fellow student Pablo M. Dantes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Come on, honey. Please breastfeed PJ. I know it's your body, and they respect that. But I really believe that PJ would miss out on so much. My mother breastfed me, and look at the wonderful man you married. Honorable judges, distinguished guests, my fellow competitors, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. As a young man, I stand firmly echoing the theme, prioritizing breastfeeding, creating sustainable support systems. Specifically, I will explore the benefits of breastfeeding, how our dear mothers can be supported, and unfortunate myths associated with the art of breastfeeding. Commencing a plethora of benefits exist for both the mother and her baby as a result of breastfeeding. For my wife, Patricia, and other selfless moms out there, the Cleveland Clinic states that breastfeeding lowers the risk of breast and ovarian cancer. Moreover, the risk of battling high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes plummets. Also, oxytocin flows, decreasing stress and heightening moments of bonding. In turn, Patricia and PJ experienced an indescribable love, simply out of this world. And now for my little darling, whom I spent 9 months waiting with anticipation, dreaming every day about his future. Breastfeeding is so beneficial for babies that no formula can compare. Cleveland Clinic anchors this belief as it states that breastfeeding builds a baby's digestive system, lowering the rates of illnesses and infections. Therefore, breastfeeding is the best way to feed your child. Luckily, as a father, I am so fortunate I get to see my two precious angels live happily and healthily together. I was so compelled by all the mothers out there that I did my own research, compiled of my co-workers, my fellow students, and even my family members, and the results was quite favorable. The, the people who were breastfed for little to no time unfortunately ended up battling illnesses like asthma and was more separable to diseases like headaches and infections. The people who were breastfed for the average amount of time, which is 6 months, had more immunity to all types of illnesses and infections. Miss Claudia Class, the National Breastfeeding Coordinator, also tells Bahamian mothers to breastfeed. I really hope you decide to breastfeed, PJ, even though the rumors might be overwhelming. What's that, Patricia? You stand to reconsider breastfeeding? Isn't that great news, everyone? Oh, I know that look. She's still unsure because of the rumors. Let me clear that up. That rumor what says breastfeeding hurts. But that's totally wrong. It says here, right on breastmilkcounts.com, that breast might feel a little sore for the first few days, but it will feel better after adjustments. And that rumor that says that it'll be hard to breastfeed due to too small or too large breasts, but that's also wrong. Regardless of breast size, your body will produce plenty of milk. But one monumental factor still remains unanswered. How do we support support breastfeeding mothers? One simple but effective way is giving emotional validation. A simple keep it up or you're doing great goes a long way. A next way to show appreciation is aiding them when you can. Giving up your seat and even doing the chores can be a humongous help. In conclusion, prioritizing breastfeeding, creating sustainable support systems is really a topic what needs to be continually talked about. I just wanted to say to all my mothers out there that keep your head held high. And remember, the natural way is the best way. God designed are flawless. As you continue to raise up our generations and generations to come. Thank you, Mr. President.
As many The chair now recognizes fellow student Jamara Sandeas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Oh, please. It's just milk, they say. But they are wrong. No powder blend can match that magic that mother sent. From breast to babe, a sacred start, a gift of health straight from the heart. My most worthy judges, respected opponents, and dedicated guests, good afternoon. It is with great pleasure to be here today to encourage our mothers to breastfeed, state the benefits for mothers and child, and call out the myths they hear daily. Mothers, the science is clear. The evidence is real. To begin, as stated from the World Health Organization, breast milk is the ideal food for infants. It is safe, clean, and contains antibodies which help protect against many common illnesses. For example, ear infection, obesity, allergies, and common colds. Breast milk reduces the risk of infections and offers long-term protection against diseases such as diabetes. According to the CDC, mothers who breastfeed have a lower risk of high blood pressure, breast cancer, reduces the risk of postpartum depression, and promotes faster recovery after childbirth. Now, mothers, I'm sure you want those benefits. Even if I were to be a mother, I would have want those too. I've read from the Bahamas local news who had an interview with Ms. Hall, who is a member of the Bahamas National Breastfeeding Association and also a mother, who stated that breastfeeding lessens a woman's chances of having anemia. Now, all that money we be wasting on formula, economically, breastfeeding is cost effective. But in order to do those, mothers obviously needs a bit of support. Support must rise from home, fathers, families, and co-workers, because it takes a system that should know what to do. In the Bahamas, we have already taken certain steps to support our mothers. Bahamas National Breastfeeding Association, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and community partners host awareness walks, hospital visits, and public campaign every year. Those efforts are strong, but the support needs to be stronger. As recorded by NABA Breastfeeding website, regular check-ins, encouragement, and the provision of resources can help mothers feel more prepared, informed, and well-equipped to continue to breastfeed. Despite these benefits and support, myths and misconceptions persist. She shouldn't breastfeed in public. She's too young. She's not producing enough. Formula is just as good. Now, mothers, these are not facts. These are barriers. Too many mothers are forced to choose between their jobs and their babies. In many churches, even I have witnessed so many mothers being embarrassed or talked down on for breastfeeding. And no mother should have to go through such judgments. But to mothers who are struggling and even doubting, I'm telling you, you are not alone. You are doing something powerful, something irreplaceable. You are shaping the health of your child. This is why breastfeeding is not simply about feeding, it's about justice, health justice. So let us not ask mothers to choose between their potential and their child's well-being. Let us not place the weight of judgment or silence on their shoulders, but instead, let us build systems that uplift, educate, and empower. Because this milk is way more than food. It's a mother's strength made visible. It is wisdom passed from one heart to another. Thank you, Mr. President.
As many the chair now recognizes fellow student Javan Dean.
Thank you, Mr. President. Balloon babies. Yes, balloon babies. This was what Chinese doctors described as they noticed an influx of babies with enlarged heads in 2008. Want to know why? Well, it's because melamine was added to their baby formula to raise nitrogen levels to nutritional standards using less milk. The problem arises when we find out that melamine can cause major problems like kidney stones, which prove fatal to these poor babies. Or maybe in 2022, where the Washington Post conducted a study that showed how 9 babies died from salmonella due to product contamination in an Abbott factory. So to summarize, we have salmonella in the West and kidney stones in the East. What is the solution to ensuring your child does not fall victim to any of these circumstances? How about using the sweet gold that will never grow old? How about breastfeeding? Today, I stand before you to encourage you to prioritize breastfeeding as the breast way is the best way. Why, you may ask? It's due to three main factors. It's supported by many. It's even better for their health in comparison to any baby formula, and it's economically sound. Firstly, the common belief that many people don't support breastfeeding is simply not true. This is because they understand that breastfeeding is optimal for a child's life. Many organizations like the Association of Breastfeeding Mothers, the Breastfeeding Network, and the Bahamas National Breastfeed Association vehemently support the idea of breastfeeding, whether it be through hosting fundraisers or awareness campaigns, all to ensure that a stimulated environment is there to make these mothers feel comfortable. After all, studies showed that breast milk has more health benefits for your child compared to any baby formula. To better understand what I mean, let's take a deep dive into what breast milk is composed of, shall we? According to the National Library of Science, human breast milk contains 88% water, 7% carbohydrates, 1% protein, and 3.8% fats and maternal antibodies. These maternal antibodies are crucial to a baby's life. The National Health Institute highlights maternal antibodies as effective in protecting infants against the most infectious diseases for up to 6 months. Yes, baby formula might have more vitamins and minerals. It's true. But it does not contain the antibodies that are necessary to help fortify your child's immune system against any infection. Additionally, let's talk about the money. In our current society, where VAT prices climb like spiders on walls, local Spectrum News reports show that January 2023 and January 2024 showed that the cost of baby food and formula has increased by 8.7%. If these big companies are so greedy, why shouldn't we be too? Mothers from around the globe are struggling, especially since they often have to forego raising their children alone. It's crucial to maximize on your finances and decide to breastfeed your children, not only because of the health benefits, but also to save money. Now, some may argue that, hey, I can't produce breast milk because my breasts are too large or small. Yet, didn't the Leche League of Canada clearly highlight that the size of your breast is determined mostly by the amount of fatty tissue, and fatty tissue is not involved in the production of breast milk? In fact, most mothers are capable of making enough milk for their babies, no matter the size or shape of their breasts. As I close, I understand that these may be single-parent homes where mothers have millions of tasks to complete, but please, through setting aside at least 4 hours to breastfeed, that's 4 days that you won't have to take off to take your child who contracted salmonella from contaminated baby food to the hospital. And that's $400 you won't have to spend on medication and one life saved. Thank you, Mr. President.
As many The chair now recognizes fellow student Jaden Morley.
Thank you, Mr. President. As the World Healthcare Organization states, breastfeeding is the best investment in a child's future today. About 12 years ago, the percentage of mothers breastfeeding their babies worldwide was at approximately 38%. Based on researchers in July 31st, 2024, the percentage increased by 10% in which babies are breastfed. Mothers play a primary role in breastfeeding, whilst the baby is characterized into the secondary role. Breastfeeding a child can boost brain function and promote brain development. The milk from the breast contains fatty acids and important nutrients that supports brain development. There is a mythical theory saying that formula is just as good as the breast milk. In all actuality, breast milk provides the perfect balance of fats, proteins, carbohydrates, vitamins, and minerals for the babies. Unlike the formula, it cannot replicate these factors of nutrients. There are hundreds of babies dying every year from a syndrome called sudden infant death. It has been shown from research that breastfeeding reduces the chances by 50% from sudden infant death. Babies gain full immunity at ages 3 to 4, meaning that if a baby gets sick, its immune system isn't strong enough to support and fight the sickness. Breastfeeding a baby protects it from infections and diseases. Now, as I mentioned earlier, breastfeeding comes in handy for a mother too. First of all, why would a mother choose to buy expensive formula milk when nature lives right inside of her body? Over the last few years, prices in formulas went sky high. Breast milk is always ready and available at the right temperature. Breastfeeding doesn't require bottles, heating, or even formula, making it convenient and cost effective. Theory shows that mothers can't breastfeed whilst work. That's not true. Breastfeeding reduces stress and anxiety in a mother's life, helping them feel more relaxed and calm. I sure know every mother wants their pre-pregnancy shape and belly back. Breastfeeding can help mothers lose any weight that was gained during pregnancy, and it also burns calories fast. In year 2022, there were approximately 2.3 million women diagnosed with breast cancer, and 250 women die every week from ovarian cancer. These are long-term diseases. It has been shown that breastfeeding reduces chances of breast cancer and ovarian cancer. So, if you ever have a baby, breastfeed it and think about your safety and the baby's standard of life. Thank you, Mr. President.
As many as are in favor, say aye. Those who oppose, say nay. The resolution is passed. The business of the Senate is complete. You are dismissed.